Hello, 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 and we're
Hey
back. Right?
everyone.
Thank you all for joining us. It's the fourth session for today, and we have Eric Brown Jr. from Microsoft. So imagine working with Microsoft. That's amazing. That's like super amazing, right? And as usual, Jennifer is going to introduce Eric and share his profile and the amazing stuff he's doing. So Jennifer.
Thank you very much, Arome. Everyone, I'm thrilled to introduce Eric Brown to you all. As a mixed reality technical specialist, Eric Brown is responsible for empowering customers and partners to enable Microsoft mixed reality solutions. Embracing the core values of integrity, innovation, and growth, he helps organizations realize the value of immersive technology from envisioning to deployment. When he isn't tinkering with the latest and greatest technology, you can find him volunteering or mentoring the next generation of leaders. He believes in being a spark that inspires others to dream, learn, and do more. Wow, Eric, I'm inspired already. I can't wait to hear what you have to share with us. The floor is yours.
Well, welcome everyone. I am excited to be here and I appreciate that warm welcome. One moment while I share my screen. But while I'm bringing things up here, I'm curious to hear from you all in the chat. This is going to be as interactive as it can be. So I'm just letting you know now, I'm going to be calling on you. So be ready to respond. All right. And so once again, I am a technologist at Microsoft focusing on mixed reality. And today I'm looking forward to just having a discussion around, why Microsoft is empowering humans with mixed reality. Emphasis on humans. I had the opportunity to get exposed to mixed reality in 2015 timeframe. And it was then that I, was grateful to, one moment while I progress these slides. Yeah, so it was then that I really was grateful to be interactive with individuals who focused on innovation and this notion of more personal computing. And at the time, I was a part of a lab, and there were some senior architects that were like mad scientists doing things with augmented reality. And like, Eric, there's this thing called the HoloLens. I'm like, really? And for me, initially, I thought it was like so far-fetched from the work that I was doing, but they really mentored me and gave me the opportunity to see things from different perspective. And as you can see on the screen here, the quote by Satya says, when you change the world you see, you can change the world you see. When you change the way you see the world, rather. And so mixed reality for me gave me a lens to, one, see the world in a different way, but it ultimately connected me with people that also shaped the way my perspective was on what you can do with immersive technologies in the US, but across the globe. And in 2017, our CEO, Satya Nadella, wrote a book called Hit Refresh. And in this book, he talks about, the transformation that we're going through in this world today. And during that time, he got a series of interview questions. And one of the questions that he received was, from your perspective, Satya, what are the technologies that are going to shape the future that you guys are investing in today? And the quote on the screen here is kind of what his response was. And it was something that I took note to before joining the mixed reality team. Like, the CEO is saying that mixed reality, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing are the three path-breaking technologies that will shape the world in the coming years. And at this time, that was 2017. And now we fast forward to today, and the world obviously has changed. And, as we are in this virtual format today, unfortunately, we're not able to meet in person based on the state of the world. But even before COVID, there has been major changes and transformations that have been happening in the business place, but also just within our everyday lives. We are more connected than ever with our digital devices and Internet of Things devices through our homes. I have several nieces and nephews, and just watching them grow and the way they interact before they can tie their shoes or even, speak, they're opening up phones, going to YouTube, pulling up their favorite songs, turning TVs on and off with their voice. And I'm like, wow, this is so much further than it was when I was their age. And so, at Microsoft, our goal is to empower every person and organization on the planet to do more and achieve more. And one of the things I want to make an emphasis on today in this conversation is around that, at the end of the day, technology is amazing. And I love technology, and we could talk about it for hours, but people matter, and people are the center of our business and our focus. So as you look at history, there have been major key points where there have been transitions in technology that has transformed the way we work, play, and interact and communicate. And from mainframes to personal computing to the mobile age that we have been in for several years now, there's now a shift with the basis of cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and all the advancements in computer vision. We're now able to do things that were unheard of before. And what's exciting for me is, every day I get to work with customers around the world, helping them go from an idea that was once science fiction and help them make it science fact using the mixed reality platform. And thus far, as you probably have heard, I've said mixed reality like 20 times. And I just want to be clear that, in this space of immersive technologies, and this week at the Innovation Week, you've probably heard lots of acronyms and different terminologies in regards to immersive technology. At Microsoft, we consider the blending of the physical and digital world mixed reality, but it's not necessarily just that experience. We look at the entire spectrum from augmented reality to virtual reality and everything in between as a spectrum of experiences, and we support all different type of modalities across that spectrum. So, for example, today you may have experienced augmented reality with a mobile device, and I'm actually going to pause here because I'm curious to hear in the chat just for feedback. What is your first mixed reality experience on the spectrum? Is it a mobile device? Have you had experience with HoloLens, or are you primarily using virtual reality headsets today? But regardless of whatever platform or medium that you're using, we have the ability to help empower people to do more with mixed reality across that spectrum. So, one of the things I have a passion for is, more personal computing. And when you think about more personal computing, the way we interact with computers today, primarily mouse and keyboard. Right now, we're looking at a 2D screen, and our forms of output is primarily audio and the display. And we've been doing that for a while, and for the longest time, that's the only way we were able to interact with computers. However, we're really rethinking, how do we have human-centered computing experiences? And so when we think about the way we interact today, kind of going back to my nieces and nephews, excuse me, they use gaze, they use gestures, they use animation, speech when they interact, and there are various forms of output that we interact with every day around, haptic feedback, and now in this scenario with mixed reality, holograms can be a form of output that we interact with. So at Microsoft, we've really been on a journey to really help individuals and organizations do more with immersive technology. You may be familiar with the Xbox Kinect controller. One of our leaders in the mixed reality space, Alex Kipman, is one of the founders of this device. And the tagline for Kinect was, "You are the controller." So all the gestures that you do, movement, that was your form of input. And it took a lot of advancement to have sensors that were able to have the depth and be able to understand your space and movement. And in 2016, like mentioned, my first introduction to the HoloLens 2015, 2016, is the development edition of the HoloLens 1, the first holographic computing device that you can wear on your head untethered on the mixed reality platform. And we've made advancements since then, 2017, realizing that customers in the enterprise space have particular requirements, networking, et cetera, that they wanted to be able to get this device on their networks and be able to use in an enterprise scenario. So we made some enhancements there. But ultimately, from a development standpoint, for those who have built immersive technology experiences, it's definitely a process. You have your designers, you have your audio engineers, you have your Unity or Unreal developers, and it's a series of individuals that come together to make an experience a reality. And sometimes it takes a long time. But after kind of getting feedback from customers, we realized that, there are a few scenarios that across the board bring initial return on investment for users. And so we decided to invest and build out first-party applications that are consumable out of the box as soon as you get a HoloLens device. And in 2019, we came out with the new version, HoloLens 2, as well as the Azure Connect sensor. And today, I really am proud to be one of the technical specialists around the globe, helping customers envision and deploy the most comfortable and immersive mixed reality headset available today. And one thing that's great is the fact that although Microsoft is doing a lot of investment in this space, we have over 200 partners around the globe that are also building experiences across all verticals to help customers realize value out of the box without developing anything from scratch. And so these applications that I've been referring to is remote assist and guides. And as you can imagine today, with the current climate, if someone needs to go and fly and try to go help as an expert, that's something that may not be possible anymore. And so being able to have expert guidance, someone who's at home or at the office on their machine, and someone who's in the field, be able to be the over-the-shoulder guidance, walking them through how to troubleshoot a situation is something that almost all organizations have a use case for. And so this is something that a lot of customers are leveraging today. In addition to that, with guides, how are you able to train individuals through step-by-step instruction before they have access to that unit? So while they're home, not in the facility, how can you give them access to virtual representations of products or procedures so that they can get that knowledge and transfer before actually doing the work? And even today, globally, there's been collaboration in the healthcare space around how can you have experts collaborate and do real-time surgeries leveraging the remote assist platform. And so this is something that is real today. This is no longer just a scenario that is, oh, we would love to have it one day, but it is here. And I'm not sure if you all heard of the Ignite conference. It took place about a week ago. And one of the things Satya Nadella, our CEO, kicked off with was the announcement of something called Microsoft Mesh. And so thus far, the examples that I shared, remote assistant guides, primarily focuses on, okay, how are you empowering this individual person on the floor or in a scenario to collaborate or get a particular task done? But as you can imagine, when working with large teams, I know myself, I learn by doing, and I love to be in a room with all the talented minds and be able just to collaborate and solve a problem together. And so what Mesh does is it enables individuals, regardless of what platform they are on, whether you have the HoloLens or you're on a mobile device or VR headset, to have presence, be able to see an avatar or a holographic representation of an individual, to be able to collaborate and interact with 3D content in the same space, as well as connect from any different location around the globe to get work done and collaborate together. So now the mixed reality platform is something you can do as an individual, but also as a group. And so for the developers that are on the call and in the ecosystem, we are definitely trying to come and build out the solutions that are needed in the industry. However, there are always niche case scenarios or things that you want to customize. And we realize that the HoloLens device, although it's very powerful and immersive, there are some things that are just limited based on the form factor and the compute that's available on board. So you can imagine if you have this really high polygon hologram that you want to be able to visualize on the HoloLens, you can, decimate it down and be able to put on the HoloLens, but depending on your use case, you may want to actually have it in full fidelity. And so now with our mixed reality services, we're enabling you to have remote rendering, spatial anchors so that, whether you're on the iPhone or the HoloLens, be able to see the same content, but also leveraging machine learning and AI algorithms to have anchors or object understanding to say, all right, here's a physical product. When I see this product, let me lock a hologram to it. And so we are definitely growing in this space of mixed reality services that enhances the experience with the HoloLens device. And so, like mentioned before, we have 200 plus partners in the ecosystem today that are building these custom applications. And so I encourage you, if you haven't already looked at this list, to go and browse it. But also, if you are a development shop, feel free to look through and we can share insight on how you can become a partner on that list. So in short, one of the things that's exciting is the fact that it's really a platform or ecosystem. We have the various devices, whether it's mobile to VR, from a first-party application perspective, the Dynamics platform gives you value out of the box, but we have a series of partners that are also able to enable you with your various solutions. But for the developers, you have the mixed reality toolkit, as well as we have the ability to leverage the Unreal Engine as well as the Unity engine to be able to create custom experiences. So primarily, I talked about remote assistant guides and the new mesh capability for collaboration, but I want to take a moment just to kind of highlight what are the various use cases that we've seen and that we're actively helping customers around the world support today. And I'm going to pause here, and I'm curious to hear in the chat, what are some of the scenarios that you're looking at or innovating around, whether it's in healthcare, whether that's in defense, whether that's in automotive. I'm curious to hear in the chat, what areas or scenarios are you working with today? And as it relates to this community in particular, I'm really excited about the investments that our team is making in particular. So we have a development center in 2 locations now in your area. And so I'm not sure if you're familiar with these efforts, but I definitely encourage you to reach out and get involved, whether you are building your mixed reality skills and are an engineer wanting to build what's next. There's definitely opportunity in your region to be able to join the mixed reality team, but also there are resources there available to co-collaborate and to build what's next, solving the problems that are pertinent to your region of the world. And so I'm excited to see this investment and the continued growth of innovation in your community. And specifically within mixed reality, like mentioned, Alex Kittman, which I referred to earlier, he is the founder and kind of visionary for Connect, but also mixed reality HoloLens in the middle. They celebrated about a year ago the engineers that have been focused on mixed reality, specifically within Africa. And so I'm just excited to see the growth and the opportunity that is growing in your space. And I'm happy to be a partner in the growth and innovation as you go forth and create custom applications or leverage the first party applications that we have created today. And so with that, I am pretty much done. I just wanted to provide some resources. I know many of you may have some mobile devices to be able just to take a screenshot here and use this QR code to get to our landing page of all the resources. So whether you are a developer, whether you are a designer, whether you are a futurist, whether you are just a student trying to learn more about this space, we have resources and modules to help you learn and go on this mixed reality journey. And so I know this week you've learned quite a bit about this space, but we definitely want to empower you to, take the steps and lessons learned and to apply them as soon as possible. And so this is something that is available today for you to take advantage of. And for me in particular, I definitely am one who loves people in community. And so feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any particular questions. And at this time, I am going to stop sharing and open it up for Q&A.
Amazing. Thank you so
Wonderful
much.
job, Eric. Just a wealth of information that you shared with us. And we have several questions that have come through as you've been speaking. So I want to honor those questions and speak them into our space so that you can provide your insight.
Sure.
So Neil says, hey, Eric, can you talk about the adoption of HoloLens in education? Interesting question. Are there any authoring tools to help to create these immersive learning experiences for devices like these?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And so I definitely have a passion for education. And this is something that, with HoloLens 1, one of the customers that come to mind is Case Western University. When you think about looking at anatomy and physiology, being able to study the human body has been primarily using, dummies or just looking at a textbook. But, being able to look at something from 3 dimensions and have a different perspective is something that is transforming education today. And I think healthcare or learning about the body is one aspect that I've seen leveraged with HoloLens 1 and 2. There are definitely lots of partners that are creating custom applications for the education space. I think that, retention of information is something that people learn in different ways. Some are auditory, visual learners, learn by doing. And when you think about our guides application, one of the things that's interesting in just the workplace today, there are a lot of individuals who are leaving the marketplace, and there's lots of institutional knowledge that they have in their mind. It's like, well, how someone who is fresh out of college, how do I get them to know everything that person who's leaving understands? And so leveraging mixed reality, an expert can create a guide, giving their tutorials, saying, hey, when you get to this lesson, turn the wrench twice or do this thing with auditory, or being able to have PDFs and then share that with the new hire, and they can go through and learn. So whether it's formal education like Case Western University, or it's something about institutional knowledge, HoloLens, mixed reality, remote assist guides are some things that can be leveraged. But there are also various other partners that have specific solutions.
Great. Okay. I think we've got some more. So let's choose the next one.
I don't quite get this question. Maybe you guys can.
Specifically about dynamics.
Okay. The question is?
It says, how do different Unity native applications in MR with guided application and Dynamics 365 business applications, and I think we're missing part of that part, but then it says, create a guided application. Should we use Dynamics 365? So can you talk a little bit about how Dynamics fits into the XR space and how you would potentially use it as part of the broader ecosystem?
Yeah, I definitely highlight that. So, Dynamics 365 is our, business application platform. So historically, think about the CRM, customer relationship management, but we decided that, we want to be able to create first-party applications that customers can leverage out of the box. And so behind the scenes, and without getting into more detail, the Dynamics platform uses something called a common data service, so a database. And ultimately, the guides applications are stored in that database and are able to be leveraged on the HoloLens device. And so that makes it easy out of the box. Now, for those who are custom developers using Unity or Unreal, there may be an experience that, hey, you know what, Guides is a great solution, but we want to be able to extend the experience or integrate it with something that we have custom made. There's ways from a development platform standpoint that you are able to integrate into that Dynamics platform. And so instead of creating everything from scratch, you can leverage that to kind of have your starting ground. So I hope that answers your question. Dynamics helps with the out-of-the-box experience, but if you are a custom dev, you can definitely leverage that as a baseline or build on top of it.
Cool. Sarki's got a great question. He says, thank you, by the way. You're getting lots of kudos in the chat. He's saying, how do you see MR empowering solutions and experiences in remote and developing nations?
Yeah, so one of the examples that we shared in the video is around healthcare. So in emerging in remote countries, connectivity is definitely a big scenario that is on the table for sure. So being able to have offline mode scenarios is key. So you can have an application that you can run locally without internet and be able to go through that experience. And if you do have a scenario where you need to connect with someone else across the globe, when you get connectivity, you're able to have that experience, but it's not necessarily required for the entire time. So I understand with developing countries, connectivity and infrastructure is definitely something that is top of mind. But offline mode applications help solve for that. But also when connectivity is available, whether it's on a hotspot or even satellite, you're able to have those connectivity scenarios when necessary.
Great. Thank you for that. And working in the industries that I work in, that's always a huge challenge in all parts of the globe. So thank you for that. Ken has a great question for you. I think everybody's wanting to know this.
All right.
What requirement is needed to work with the Microsoft Development Center in Africa?
Honestly, I will be honest, I do not have insight on that, but I will take that as an action item and follow up with this community. So that's a great question. I'm excited that it's there, but I don't have those details, but we will follow up.
Perfect. Thank you. I think you'll have a lot of interest there. So any information you can provide us around what skill sets required or even just how local innovators get involved in the work at the center, I think would be fantastically interesting to this audience. Arome, any questions, comments from you?
I must say Eric is a great guy. I love how comfortable you are sharing, right? Sharing your passion for MR. And I also love how you are also willing to mentor a lot of folks over here that are into XR. We just finished showcasing some startups that are doing great stuff with XR. They're a bit rough, right? They need a bit of need that push. They need that you need somebody to give them focus. So it would be great to have you guide them if possible, and maybe see the great stuff they're building.
No, excellent. I do have a passion for mentoring, and I think that I'm grateful for the mentors and individuals who invested in me and my journey. So happy to support where I can, but also open up my network of individuals who are more experienced and in depth in development than I am, and can possibly help this community as well.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Eric, for your time. You've shared a lot of great information, and I'm sure you will get lots of contacts from people that are interested in mentorship or interested in ways to get involved in their local community and beyond across the world. So thank you for taking the time out to share your information with us today. It's been very insightful, and lots of great feedback in the comments and chat right now with regards to the value that people got out of the presentation. So thank you.
Excellent. Well, I'm happy to be here and be a part of the community at large. And I shared some resources that hopefully you're able to get access to in the chat. Like I said, free to reach out to our team and community. We're happy to support where we can.
Great.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you so much. Do have a great day ahead. Bye. Yeah, that was interesting.
Another great session.
Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Eric is a great guy. He's a great guy. So thank you all so much. And up next, we still have some startups that we'll be showcasing. And we have one which will be sharing quite a little bit about XR for art and culture. So he's building a virtual museum where users could interact virtually, right? That's quite interesting. So see you all very soon on the next session. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. See you in the next one.